My name is DeAndre. This is my week 4 assignment for FTH 223 Hammer 5 Pistols. Today's date is May 23rd, 2026. And for this module 4 assignment, so first we'll go over the science of the compensators and how they function. So essentially, the compensator works similar to the ported barrel and its use. Essentially, but the biggest difference is the compensator is usually an external piece that's not manufactured onto the barrel, but it's added onto the barrel, and it has holes that are essentially at the top of it to help to redirect the hot gases that expel when the round is fired. So essentially, that's how it's used mostly to reduce recoil or felt recoil and help mitigate some of that to make for a more pleasant shooting experience. And like I said, it's similar to the ported barrels, but the ported barrels are directly milled into the sliding barrel versus the compensator, which can either be threaded on or they have other ways to add those on. So I'll get into the pros and cons of a compensator. Let's start with the cons and then list the pros. So one of the cons, of course, is going to be adding additional weight and additional length to the firearm, which can affect, of course, holster compatibility, concealability, and overall function of the firearm. Now, adding additional weight also can influence the cycling of the firearm, which we definitely want to be mindful of. Or even though it's gonna it can reduce velocity, but it also can push some of those gases back. So it definitely want to be mindful of adjusting the other parts that need to be done to get it functioning properly. But as listed before, one of the biggest pros, like I said, is going to help reduce that muzzle rising, that felt recoil, and the overall shooting experience. Now, personally, um, compensators can be good, but definitely I would say on certain guns more than others. I don't think every firearm needs a compensator, but the ones that utilize it right, it definitely can change the experience. Now, getting to part two. Um, so after I did the trigger pull weight, it was about 4.7 pounds on a single action. Surprisingly, it was a little high compared to the average, but that was the average pull weight. I'm just gonna get some quick snapshots of the trigger assembly parts. I'm gonna get those sanded down, and then show the follow-up results and see where our trigger pull is at, and install that recoil spring. I'm gonna go ahead and get those pictures in now. And here are the disassembled parts before we sand and file, and then we'll show the follow-up. So I'm sanding down the side of the trigger bar and the bottom of this piece. I don't want to sand down too much as to cause any malfunctions. So I'm just gonna sand this side down to get a little bit smoother feel on the side of the frame of the pistol, and this other part, because this is where the ejector and where this part sits onto. So I'm gonna see how that works, and then I'm gonna install the new reduced powered springs, and then get the new trigger weight. So apologies for getting the video in so late, but I had trouble getting the trigger return spring back into the firearm. But I'll get a video of I might finally get the trigger return spring in and all the reduced springs in, and I brought the trigger pull weight down to about 3.7, 8-ish. The highest pull was at 3.9, but I would say average around 3.7. But we'll go ahead and cycle the firearm just to show its function. So, we're gonna make sure the weapon is clear. Look down to the chamber. As you see, the slide rack just fine. The hammer cocks back good. Trigger works good. It returns back like it should. It even goes in a half cock mode just fine. And we'll double check the safety. Nice audible safety. And the slide locks back just good. So all the function checks are good. Loading, unlocking, cocking, locking the slide. Everything is good. I haven't testified it since I rebuilt it yet, but all the other operations function just well. And that's it for week 4 module assignment.